Hello, everybody. Welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. Please leave your bias at the door and join us live for the Championship review, round 15, part 2. Yesterday, you can check this out on the channel, on the podcast. We looked at the first 6 games, the Tuesday night games of game week, round number 15. Tonight, we will look, or this afternoon even, I'm so used to doing this in the evenings, we will look at the Wednesday night games. So the remaining 6, believe me, plenty to talk about in those, some interesting results and refereeing decisions in one of the games in particular. So we are going to go through all of this with your help in the comments. Let me know that you can see me, hear me nice and clearly, and get involved in the debate as we go. Let me know that you're here. Say hello. I'll just quickly go through my plugs and then we'll get into all of the action. Thank you to Russ, our Championship review sponsor, good friend of the channel there. Fan and now friend despite Ben's terrible taste in football teams. Thank you, Rush. He sponsors the review show for every single round of the Championship this season. Too kind of you, sir. Down the bottom there, that is how you can support the channel. You can support me directly via Super Chat. You can do that right now. You can sign up on Patreon, or you can go to the Teespring shop and buy some merchandise. And by virtue of the fact you're watching this, we can give you a discount. If you type in the code LIVE at the checkout, you get 10% discount on all Benjamin Bloom Football Channel merchandise. T-shirts, mugs, phone cases, hoodies, sweaters, etc., etc. But for the absolute sum of no money whatsoever, you can hit like on this video and you can subscribe to the channel, like on Twitter or Facebook, wherever you are watching. Wonderful, wonderful. Let's say some hellos to James, to Peter, to Liam, Mr. E, Langley, Gaza, Charlie, Danny, Hal, Kate, Brandon, Josh. Yes, we have got everybody in there. Lovely job. Let's go game by game as ever. We got 6 of them to look at, and here they were last night in the Championship. It was, sorry, my badge is in the way there, but I think you can still read that. Middlesbrough 2, Swansea 1 in the 7 p.m. Long old journey home for Swansea from that one after losing. Blackburn 2, Millwall 1. Luton 3, Norwich 1, Forest 0, Watford 0, Sheffield Wednesday 1, Reading 1, Wycombe 0, Stoke 1. And we should, of course, mention now fans were back in grounds for some of those games, if it's Tier 1 or Tier 2. Am I right? It's up to 2,000. I can't remember. I think we had we definitely had 1,000 in at Wycombe and 1,000 in at Luton. I'm probably missing some of them out. And Luton is where we will start, because as ever, we're going to go from the top downwards, and top leading the parachute cartel up the top there. Norwich City were at Luton last night, and it was Luton 3, Norwich 1. Luton lining up there. Shea in goal. Norrington, Davis, Pearson. Lockyer comes in. Craney starts, but he's not going to last the game. He's going to get replaced by Bree. So the sight of maybe a centre-back playing at right-back and a midfielder playing at centre-back changed. Ray moves back into the midfield. Moncur, Dewsbury Hall, Berry and Clark. He uses so many different permutations, Nathan Jones. And James Collins up top for the Hatters. They're moving pretty well and functioning in the main all season in the top half of the table. Good season for them. Norwich, well, the injury crisis lightens slightly. McGovern is still in for Krul. However, Aarons, Hanley, Gibson, Sorensen, that was the start of the injury crisis. He has been playing left back for a while. Tetty and Skip, so they're still missing Rupp. Buendia, Steeperman, they're missing Pookie. Plachetta would normally be playing wide, but Martin has come in. So arguably now, Martin, Tetty, Sorensen, and McGovern. So they're down to 4. Believe me, it was worse at the weekend for Norwich, but they're going to go under in this one. Here is the opening goal. Lovely one. This curled in from the right-hand side by George Moncur in off the far post. And I dare say Tim Krul, one of the best in the division, probably is not saving that one, even if he is in the goal there. Beautiful shot there by Moncur in off the post. Here comes Plachetta, and I think I've got the contact there for Shea on Plachetta there. Penalty to Norwich. It's one of those. We have the conversation forever and a day, don't we? Is contact proportional to take player down? Probably not. Does that mean it's not a penalty? No, it's still probably a penalty. That if the player gets touched, the player goes down. And we all know if the player stays up and misses, then they don't get the advantage. Just a quick one, because I did see Alex Tete, a very experienced player, asking for the red card in this. Remember, where a player, I'm reading from the laws here, commits an offence against an opponent within their own penalty area, which denies an opponent an obvious goal scoring opportunity, the referee awards a penalty kick. The offending player is cautioned. If the attempt was, so let me read the exact words, if the offence was an attempt to play the ball. So never, ever judge the reactions of players on actually knowing the laws there. So, and that was the same in the Brentford and Rotherham game the other night. If the penalty is given, the red card then doesn't come out, providing there was, subjective word, a deliberate attempt to play the ball. Emi Buendia has a very deliberate attempt to play the ball into the goal there. He lays Shea down and sticks it in the other corner. I'll reiterate it. Is there a player in the Championship more important to their team than Emi Buendia is for Norwich? What a player that guy is. We mentioned a minute or so ago, Norwich are playing a central midfielder at left back. And he has a bit of a nightmare here, to be honest. He commits the foul to concede the free kick. Into the box it goes. And who heads in? I think it's Pearson. And he loses Pearson from the cross as well. So not the best moment for Jacob Sorensen there. Maybe McGovern needs to be coming off his line. That's one where we can maybe say stick Krul in the goal, and maybe the outcome of that changes. Maybe he organises the free kick a little bit better. But there you go. 2-1 Luton at half-time. And here we go again with the blooming laws of the game. That is Grant Hanley, who is falling over in the penalty box, and the ball is going to hit his arm, and the ref is going to give a penalty. Now, fortunately, this is specifically mentioned in the laws here. If you look, the fourth bullet point there, when a player falls and the hand arm is between the body and the ground to support the body, but not extended laterally or vertically away from the body. So there is your wording. You need to tell me, if you want to debate this decision, whether Grant Hanley's arm is between the hand and the ground to support the body, in which case that's not a penalty, or it is extended laterally or vertically away from the body. I'll let you look at that for another few seconds, because I can't be bothered to debate referees' decisions all day long. And you can decide whether that's a penalty or not. It was given and it was scored by Collins, who hammers it down the middle. And again, even if you stick Tim Krul in the goal for that one, I don't think he's saving that one. 3-1 to Luton, and a decent win for the Hatters. Let's look at the numbers. 68 in the possession for Norwich. We would expect that anyhow. 5 shots to 4 on target in Luton's favour. 9 corners to 4 in Norwich's favour. 1 big chance apiece. Penalty for either side wasn't there. So I guess you just say maybe Luton play the penalty boxes a little bit better, don't they? If we take the penalty out of the equation for each team, it's 2-0 to Luton, isn't it? If you can work it that way. Are Norwich struggling without Pookie and Krul? Yes, maybe less so Rupp and Quinteria, although I did point out that Sorensen maybe had a bit of a mare for the second goal. I've always said about Norwich, forget Krul for a second, Aarons, Buendia and Pookie, and particularly the combination of Buendia and Pukki. I think Buendia is an elite good player, and I think Pukki's an excellent player. But the combination of the two of them together in the Championship is just lethal. So the sooner, if you're a Norwich fan, that those two are back together, things are going to be looking much better. However, like I said, when you looked at the team, it's 4 players out. I would suggest from a Norwich perspective that you can absorb injuries as long as it's not either Buendia or Pukki and the two of them at the same time. Krul, maybe so too. So they'll be hoping those players come back. I think Pukki will be back at the weekend. Krul will be a while longer, but Buendia still doing the business. It's not all about Norwich though. Luton, excellent stuff from them. 6 wins already, only 1 defeat in the last 5. It was looking like a winless run, and they are still functioning in the top half of the table, which is excellent work from the Hatters. Norwich, well, they've gotten away with one a little bit there. Look, no one in the top 4, as it stands right now, won this game week. So they still stay top. The parachute cartel is back in play. Watford have moved back into 3rd. So I guess if you're a Norwich fan and you come away from this huge injury crisis, and really by huge injury, we're talking about Buendia, Pukki and Krul. They're the players you really, really want back in that team. And if Norwich is still in the top 2, you'd be happy with that, even if they were a game away from the top 2. I think most Norwich fans would be cool with that, as in surviving that run. I think the fixtures are okay going forward. They play a few pragmatic teams, so they'll want Pukki back in there to finish things. Of course, you want your top players in there, don't you? Right, let's have a look at some of your comments on this one. Yeah, we're already talking about the Reading game. We'll get to the Reading game, don't worry. Luton dominated the attacking play. Didn't really feel like Norwich had firepower in their attacks. Madness from Shea. Player is going away from goal. He's so fast, though, isn't he? Martin says, Farker moaned about no red card. He's totally wrong. The laws say, well, it's not guaranteed a red card. And I mean, we're arguing whether a human being did something deliberately or not deliberately. It looks like Shea comes out, makes an attempt to play the ball. He clearly flings his foot out at it and takes the guy down. So it's not a red card if he's tried to play the ball. It looks like he did. I think Farker is wrong there. He moaned that the grass was too long. There you go. No other team with 11 first-team injuries would even be competitive in this league. Yes, that's true. However, every other fan of every other club would say no other team without parachute money would be able to cope with. Look at it from the other way round sometimes, that I think a lot of other teams would, they wouldn't be competitively playing the under-17s, for goodness sake, wouldn't they? So there you go. We got a bit unlucky last night, says James. Fair play to Luton. Took the chances brilliantly. Hanley may have been unlucky, but a blatant handball to deflect a shot late. I won't get into any of the other stuff. I'd be surprised if Norwich say in the top 6. I think Joe is a Norwich fan, actually. He says us. By the end of the month, December is going to kill us. 12 injuries. This was always coming. NCF says, I'm furious with fans who are moaning, to be honest. You can't expect to compete in this circumstance. Yeah, I think Norwich can expect to compete. Honestly, like I say, they're essentially 4 players away from from a first 11 there, aren't they? We said McGoldrick for Krul, Sorensen for Quintia, and Tetty for Ruth. But Tetty's not a slouch, and McGovern's an international football player, and then Pukki up top. So we took, you can throw around 12 first team players out. I think I've sensibly theorised they're 4 players away from a first team. And look, you put Buendia and Pukki into, I've said this, into most teams in the league, and they'll start winning, because those two are so damn good, aren't they? Pukki should be back in a matter of days. I'd heard that was the case. Norwich fans keep moaning about all these injuries, but I'm sorry, they have a massive squad compared to most teams in the league. Signed loads in the summer whence they have loads of injuries. Millwall do as well, and Bristol City. It's hard, isn't it? Really, really hard. But I think two things can be true. Yes, Norwich have got a horrendous injury crisis. Yes, but they also have got a really good squad. So they've earned the right to have a good squad. They got promoted. They, saved their TV money, didn't they? So Krul is the biggest miss of them all, Ben. That may be so. That may be so. And the thing about how big a miss a player is you don't know until they're not there. I suspect, and this is me theorising things that may or not never happen, if you took any of those players out for 10 games, I reckon the biggest drop would be if you took Buendia out, honestly, out of any of the Norwich players. I just think he's so much better than this division. It's not true, is it? But there we go. Good time to play Norwich at the moment. I think and Luton are a competitive side. Agreed. That's a good question, Logan. Top scorer. We'll come to that at the end. But yes, Norwich, those players will come back, won't they? And look, they should be in the top 3 or 4 somewhere by the end of the season, shouldn't they? Let's move on and stop talking about players who aren't there. We can talk about players who are there. But we've got to talk about a slightly predictable result at Forest. It was Forest 0, Watford 0. Houghton versus Ivic. I predicted this one. You all predicted this one. Two teams that know how to defend. Two teams that understand the grind out. A 0-0 in this one. And Forest revert back to a Sabri Lamucci very much looking defence there. I tweeted this yesterday. Samba, Ribeiro, Worrell, Figueiredo. Only Krissy for Cash, and he can't play Cash because he's at Villa now, is the difference between that and last season's defence, isn't it? Arthur Yates, Cafu starts, not that one. Lolly, Taylor, Knockhart. For Watford, Foster, and Ngakia, Kabasele, Cathcart, Firmina, Sarr, Garner, Chalobah, Keena, João Pedro, and Deeney. Now, we did expect that after Andre Gray looked a little bit rusty in his previous games. That's as close as it got. The ball falling for Troy Deeney, the player you'd want onto it. Sort of visions of that famous goal he scored against Leicester, running onto it and half volleying it. And look, I think that is Joe Worrell just spinning around, having a look at that. Just the other side of the post. That could have won it there for Watford on 83. Looking at this, honestly, both managers will be happy, won't they? No big chances in the game. 60% possession, Watford, 13 shots to 6. But look, 1 shot on target in the entire game. No big chances. It's a 0-0 all day long, isn't it? For goodness sake. Watford complete the parachute cartel. 1, 2, and 3 there. Norwich, Bournemouth, and Watford. And look how tight it is. Look, 28, 27, 27, 27, 27, 26, 26, 25 down to Stoke. 3 points separate the entire top 8. If you're Forest, given it was a 3-game lose streak, and given there's some hard old fixtures, I think you'll take a point, you'll take a clean sheet, and you'll probably be happy not being in the bottom 3 at the moment. Doesn't appear to be any comments on that one, so we will move on. Get your comments in on the next one, though, which I'm sure you will. Oh, goodness me. Sheffield Wednesday 1, Reading 1. Please get your comments in. Please try and keep them not too insulting to the referee, who Mr. Referee Langford, who didn't have a very good game. And I think Tony Pulis has admitted that. So let's just talk about the facts and give our opinions gently. And Mr. Pulis has already said that maybe a couple of decisions went for Sheffield Wednesday in this one. Let's look at the teams there. Wildsmith in goal, Van Aken, Bernard, Lees, Palmer, Reach and Harris wide, Bannon, Shaw into midfield, but he's going to get red carded with Luongo, Patterson up top. That looks like a Tony Pulis team to me, doesn't it? Large centre forward, a couple of nippy wide players, and solid in central midfield, trying to get Bannon on the ball. Evidently, Reading Well, we know what they do now. It looks like Holmes has got the shirt over Estevez now, or rather they're rotating the minutes there. Raphael, Holmes, Morrison, Moore, Richards, Rinomota, Lawrence, Semedo, Elise, Ajaris. And no Maito. I wonder if he would have made a difference. And Lucas João continues his excellent season. He's going to score in this one. First thing we do need to say about this is this was a great goal by Sheffield Wednesday. Harris to reach down the left, crosses it into the back post for Patterson to head in. That's pure Pulis that. He set it up, quick counter-attack, great cross. The winger serving the header in the box, and there's the goal. Here's the first decision for Mr. Langford. I think we're all okay that this is probably a red card, aren't we? Sure. Diving in there, and as ever, just so we get things framed correctly, I've put the law up there. Any player who lunges at an opponent in challenging for the ball from the front, from the side, or from behind using one or both legs with excessive force endangers the safety is guilty of serious foul play. So, look, I don't think we need to debate. It's a good goal by Wednesday, and it's probably a red card. And Tony Pulis said as much himself in a good post-match interview. Here comes the equaliser, headed in by Lucas João. I think he's in double figures now. Brilliant stuff from him. And then we go into referee Langford's second half, where I'll try and frame this. There's 4 of these. He probably should have given Reading a penalty at some point. So here's the first one, played through there by Elise. You can see Richards is the wrong side. Excuse me, I can't see the number, so I don't know who of there. Richards has got his arm out. Down he goes. And Langford gives a free kick the other way. You can comment on that one. Here is the next one. Now, we've got an interesting case study for this one because that's Baldock who's come on. And this was very similar to one in the Brighton-Manchester United game. So I suggest VAR would probably have given a penalty here where you have the centre-half swinging and clearing the ball and the forward quickly flings his foot in the way. It was Welbeck, wasn't it, for Brighton? So we seen one at the weekend that was given a penalty and this one wasn't. I think we can end the debate as to whether Reading should have had a penalty when we look at this one, because nobody in the world who's ever watched a football match is going to say that that's not a penalty. So that is Adam Reach. He's the last player back between the ball and the goal. The ball's travelled. It's clearly handball, isn't it? We all know, we're all football fans here, even if you're a Wednesday fan. You know, he's tried to block it with his leg, his arms out away from his body. Our 2 watchwords for handball are deliberate and our unnatural position. So let's all be honest. Let's leave our bias at the door. Forget the other 3. That's a penalty, isn't it? Let me show you one more time. We all know that that's a penalty, don't we? And either the referee hasn't seen this, or he's just in his own head now and he's thinking, oh my God, they're all appealing for everything now. I've sent off a Wednesday player. I can't give them anything more. I don't know what he's thinking because it's so obviously a penalty. It's not true. This one at the end, I think maybe perhaps of all of them, maybe Josh Lauren is now, he's in his own head here and he goes down and he's trying to influence the referee, mainly because of this one, which is clearly, and he thinks, look, the ref must know he's missed that one. And someone in his ear has told him, make up the call and give a penalty. So, look, in short here, we can say Reading should have had a penalty and probably would have won the game if they'd have got 1 penalty. So I don't think we need to go all hell for leather at the referee. He's had a bad day, hasn't he? He should have given the handball against Reach. I think that's the most obvious one, really, where hand in unnatural position, of course it is. It's stopping the ball going in the goal for goodness sake. So that would be my reading of it. I do agree with Tony Pulis, though, that he peddled the narrative of you need to give the Wednesday boys some credit because they kept going. They had 10 men and they didn't lose. So that's his message to his supporters. And I would have said exactly the same thing. Look, we got a bit lucky. But credit to my boys. They battled. Look, Reading should have won the game. It's blindingly obvious. 78% possession, 20 shots, 4 big chances to 0. I don't think we need to say anybody's corrupt or insult anybody. I think we can be very sensible about this. I'll read your comments in just a sec. Reading should have won, and the ref had a bit of a mare. We know that. Let's try and have some calm takes. Reading into 4th. That's great for them. 5 points. But they could be on 29 and top of the table if they got... Let's just talk about the handball one. If they got the handball one and scored the penalty. Right. Let's have a look at some of your comments. Here we go. No comment. We should have had about 3 penalties. Well, let's just say Reading would have won if they'd have got one of the penalties. Red card, Sods Wednesday again. Yep. Maybe. Nat, who's a Wednesday fan, says we were very lucky. Costa's top of the league. Yes. Their manager admitted, indeed. Alex says our poor discipline is costing us more than our lack of firepower in real terms. That's true, because that's 2 games now where Wednesday have played 70 minutes with 10 men. I would say up until the red card, Sheffield Wednesday were probably the better side and may have gone on to win. You never know. Let's have a look here. Red card, yeah, it was, wasn't it? Old-fashioned, over-the-top of the ball challenge. Can I just make another complaint about pundits on the TV? I think it was Keith Andrews, wasn't it? And he's saying it's out of control. It's literally not in the rules. It's the laws, sorry. I hate it when people are paid money to be on TV. And I like Keith Andrews. He was a great player on loan for Ipswich. But let me just put it up one more time. And let's actually get some sensible debate going. Endangers the safety, excessive force or brutality. That's the laws. It's not out of control. And it's an important distinction. It's not in the laws. And it does bug me when people are paid money to be on there. VAR in the Championship, should be in the Championship. It has issues that need to be on now, but in time it will add more than it takes. The Championship is worth 100 million. There you go. There are people that don't want VAR in the Championship, but if you're a Reading fan, you want... especially that handball. The second that goes to VAR, that is 100% being given as a penalty. There's no way that VAR would not give that as a penalty. So there we go. Elaborating on the disappointment, being down to 10 men so early in the game. Yes, it does. It absolutely does. Odebajo, was it? Thank you, Adam. At least 2 blatant penalties, the other 2 debatable. Yeah, I mean, when I'm summing up the narrative of this game, I think I only really need to talk about 1 because it's 10 men. It's that time of the game. Let's just focus on the handball one. If that gets given, Reading win the game, I think. Pulis is making us hard to beat. If we can get a decent ref, then mid-table, here we come. Carl, I think it was a red card for sure. I have to say. I will stand next to you on the Preston one. I think that one was harsh. The Windass high foot, I do have to say. That one, let's have a look here. Alex says, reach handball was a penalty. Rest were not. 100% a red for sure. Never a free kick. Yeah, to be fair, I was talking to Adam, who's always in the chat, said that the free kick for Reading's goal might have been a bit soft. So there you go. But game state is important as well in this. And I know the Wednesday fans will argue game state at 17 minutes, but I do think it was a red card, wasn't it? And then 45 minutes, or there, I can't remember when the Reading goal was, but I do think game state at the time of that handball, I do think that's a game-winning decision that didn't go for Reading. So I hope when VAR comes to the Championship, all of its current massive flaws. So do I. There we go. Nice one, Adam. Thank you for joining us. See you soon. And hopefully we can now not talk about referees and handballs anymore. I think Wednesday will be very pleased with their point. Let's just say, put it that way. Hopefully the adage, probably the myth that it evens itself out is true, and Reading will get something in a future game. There you go. They'll think they deserve it. Borough 2, Swansea 1. I watched Swansea at the weekend. They looked very solid. Not solid enough to go away to Warnock's Borough and win 2-1 in this one. Watmore with 2 for Borough, and Dander for Swansea with the goals. 3-5-2 for Borough. Bettinelli, Boller, Fry, McNair, Johnson and Spence, House and Morsey, Tavernier, Akpom and Watmore, I'm really interested to see what Warnock gets out of Watmore. That could be a classic bit of Warnock man management, that one, because he was so highly thought of when he was a young player. And all of a sudden, I won't call him Colin because he doesn't like it, but old Warnock gets hold of him and he's doing bits in the Championship. Woodman, Cabango, Bennett, Guehi. I think, is that the first time we've seen that in a while? Cabango and Guehi together there. Roberts, Fulton, Smith, Manning, Casey Palmer with a start. Ayew and Lowe up top do still seem to be lacking that striker. January, maybe. Who knows? Have they still got some of the Rodden money? I don't know. Even if you're a Borough fan, you probably admit this is a bit of a lucky deflection there. Watmore hits the shot. Who is that? Guay going in for the block there. It's going to deflect and it's going to go in the other corner to Bettinelli's left. So a bit of a deflected goal. Don't worry, that will even itself out for the Swansea goal. Here is Watmore with the second, played in wide. I don't know what Woodman's doing here. I think he's expecting it low and it literally flies past Woodman like here and he flings his hand up and can't get it. So I think he just gets fooled by the height that Watmore hits it at, but probably could have saved it, I think. There is Dander hitting the shot, and that one is also going to take a deflection to go in to Bettinelli's left-hand side. Sorry, did I say Bettinelli for the first goal? I meant Woodman, didn't I? Obviously, so 2-1 to Borough in this one. And the stats, as you'd imagine, Cooper versus Warnock mean that they have more of the possession. But possession is not 9/10 of the law. What you do in the penalty box is 9/10 of the law. And one big chance apiece, 5 shots on target to 3. Possession does not win you games. It just doesn't. I think we've gone through the boom of everyone looking at possession stats as some kind of clear idea of what's going to happen in a game. Nope. Not at all anymore. It's what's added to that. Swansea dropped to 7th. And again, they could have gone top, couldn't they, if they'd have won this one? Borough, bit spotty last 4 games. Lost 1, lost 1. But 7 points in 6. Okay, they'll want that to be more like 8 or 9 going forward every 6 games, possibly more if they want a playoff push. But big picture, Warnock's doing an excellent job, and Borough are like night and day from last season, aren't they? Going back to Forest, there we go. We have got a comment. 13 points and 11 for Houghton, and they played Wycombe, Coventry, Derby, Luton, and Barnsley during that one. Not great. I agree. Yeah, and that would maybe predict that could that drop below a point per game for the next 10, Josh. So good point. Q goals for Watmore. What more do you want? Lovely stuff. There we go. Swansea doing Brentford and Bristol City a favour. Yes, indeed. Agree with you about Watmore could be a serious signing. We will come on, Callum, to Millwall in a second. Carl said Swans will make the playoffs. Jimmy, I think Millwall might even be the next game. So we will have a look. No, we're going to do Wycombe Stoke and then we will come on to Millwall in just a jiffy. Wycombe 0, Stoke 1. Fans in at Adams Park down there, but Stoke get the victory. Allsop in goal for Wycombe. Normal back 4 there. Jacobson, Stewart, Knight and Grimmer. McCarthy, Onyedinma, Bloomfield, Hogan, Samuel and Wheeler make up the Wycombe team. Stoke, Bursick's actually going to get a clean sheet in goal. Collins, Chester, Bart, Fox, Cousins and Clucas, Brown, Powell, Campbell and Vokes. So a bit of rotation there. No McLean. We've seen Smith play at wing back and right back, haven't we, for them? No Fletcher at the moment either. So using the squad, Michael O'Neill, and he's going to get the 3 points here. I keep calling it the year of the grind, and they keep grinding it out, don't they? And here is Nick Powell on the back post. You can see Allsop is moving. The cross has come in from the left. He's moving across, and Powell, textbook's going to go back across the keeper and head that one in. And Stoke get the victory. You can see by the stats there, hit woodwork. Wycombe do hit the post in the first half. But in the main, if you look at the numbers, 55-45 to Stoke on the possession, 14 shots to 8, 7 corners to 3, 3 big chances to 0, 3-2-3 to 2-7-1 on the passes. You might argue, looking at the numbers in isolation, which isn't always the best thing to do. I always like the eye test and the numbers, but I can't watch every game of football ever. You might say that Stoke were good value for the victory, and they move up to 8th, 10 points in the last 5. Is my gold standard, 2 points per game there, but they're still in 8th, Stoke. I have said for a while, look, they will rise, give it time, they'll grind, they'll be in the top 6 by the end of the season, but they're taking their sweet time in getting there. However, if you look at the carnage there, they're only 3 points off the top of the table, for goodness sake. So I think if it's going to stay that tight, it's going to be a while before this rights itself and we actually start to see clear hierarchy in this league. Wycombe, disappointed for them, and they drop. Well, no, still in the bottom 3, aren't they? No wins in 5. They've been competitive, but 2 wins in 15. They've gone from being whipping boys, where it was 7 defeats on the trot for the first 7, wasn't it, to competitive, but not necessarily winning too much over the next 8 games. I mean, they'll be happy. I think if I've added that up right, I think they did lose the first 7, didn't they? That's 10 points in the last 8. That's decent enough. Can you maintain that? Will the first 7 games be ultimately what relegates them, though? You have a feeling they might need to just function for a little while at more like 1.2 or 1.3 points per game just to mitigate that first 7 games. So we'll see with Wycombe. Nice to see them competitive, though. Let's hope that they don't get lost in the shuffle if other teams pull away for their sake. Let's have a look at the comments on this one. As a Bristol City fan, I don't think last night's results could have gone much better. There you go. Joe says Stoke were decent, should have scored more, possibly. Wycombe are difficult to beat, well organised, but ultimately they can't score goals and probably relegate as a result. True. Joe says Stoke's injuries are awful at the minute. Yes, another one we can add to the injury crisis list. Right. A lot of people have asked about this one, and we're going to get... we have to have another look at the handball rule in this one again, aren't we, Law? Blackburn 2, Millwall 1. In fact, before we do it, should we just bring up the old handball law? Have I got the whole thing there? No, we don't need to bring up the law. Our 2 watchwords before we look, because there's going to be 3 handball calls in this one that went for Blackburn against Millwall. We're looking at deliberate or not deliberate and arm in unnatural position. Okay? Deliberate, not deliberate, arm, unnatural position. That's the referee's get out. There is the selections. Kaminsky, Bell, Ayala, Lenihan, Nyambi for Blackburn. Look out for, I think, Johnson and Lenihan for the handballs. Holtby, Johnson, Elliott, Gallagher, Armstrong, Brereton. Interesting for Mowbray there. We haven't seen yet Elliott in midfield and still the front 3 there of Gallagher, Brereton and Armstrong. So a lot of good attacking players on the pitch for Rovers. And ultimately, that's going to win them the game, I think. Bialkowski, Hutchison, Pearce, Wallace, Malone, Romeo. I think Romeo is returning after a while. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Woods, Williams, Bodvarsson, Parrott and Wallace, as Rowett still looks for his combination for goal scoring. Speaking of goal scoring, Blackburn are pretty good at that. And great finish this. Whatever we say about the future refereeing decisions, this is a superb finish by Harvey Elliott, who's doing so well. That's looking like a really nice loan signing, that one. And could he be the Brewster of this season? Curls that one in off the far into the far corner. I don't know if it goes in off the far post. It's a great goal. Right. Here we go. I'll talk about them all one at a time. That is Jed Wallace hitting the shot. Excuse me, it's blurry. Is that Ayala? Possibly. And to get my still, I had to keep hitting pause on that. And something does happen here in that Wallace hits the shot and Ayala at the last second does that. So he motions to block the ball. I don't know whether we're in unnatural position here, but we might be in deliberate position because he's deliberately blocking. So there you go. There's handball possibility number 1 for Blackburn. You have got a pretty solid argument, though, that the keeper diving behind might mitigate that being a red card if it was handball, because you can argue that he may have still saved it behind. There you go. There's number 1. Keep that in mind. Here is your equalising goal. Scott Malone arriving. Great finish that. That's not an easy chance, is it? And the ball's moving as well. Malone wraps that in. Okay, 1-1. Here comes handball shout number 2. Again, deliberate, arm in unnatural position. The arm might be in an unnatural position because he's holding onto the guy's shoulder. Look, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. It may be the least clear of the 3. It does hit the arm. Is it unnatural or deliberate? You tell me in the comments. Here is, and this is so infuriating if you're a Millwall fan, because you feel you've played Armstrong quite well, and right late in the game, hits the shot. Ryan Woods, I think it is, goes in to make the block. It deflects, wrong foots Białkowski and goes in for 2-1. So the first goal was a good finish. The second was a deflection. Right. I think this is the worst one, I have to say. You could argue that there's an arm on from the Millwall player around, who is that? 26 pass. The Blackburn player. I don't know whether a foul was given. I'm not sure. If there was no foul given, then you can argue handball again, can't you? Because, look, his arm is way, way up in the air and not playing the ball at all, and probably in an unnatural position. I can understand. I bet if you spoke to a Blackburn fan, they would argue that the player is being dragged down and he's being fouled, so it's not handball. But what I will say about any of those 3 decisions, I think the first one where he leans in with his arm, maybe I've changed my mind, and that is the clearest one because there's no Millwall player in close proximity there. Again, I know refereeing doesn't work like this. Let's composite the 3 together, and let's say it was a deflected goal, and let's look at the numbers. Millwall were unlucky in this game. I think we can all ascertain that. So if you look at the numbers there, 55, 45, loads of shots. Look at that. 37 shots, 20-17. 5 shots on target for Millwall to 4 for Blackburn. And there is the most frustrating statistic. 0 big chances for Blackburn and 2 for Millwall. So if you're a Millwall fan, you're going to be very cheesed off about this one, aren't you? Because one of those could have been given as a penalty. Who cares which one? There's 3 shouts, isn't there? There's no big chances for Blackburn. And essentially the 2 Blackburn goals, one is a brilliant finish. You have to applaud that for Elliott. And the other is a deflection. So you'd be very irritated if you're a Millwall fan that you've come away with 0 points. And if you're a Blackburn fan, you'd be, okay, we'll pocket those. We'll take those 3 points and we'll move on very quickly. Let's just say, I'll come to your comments in a sec. We'll look at the table. Blackburn in 9th. Look at that. 13 points in the last 5 games. They are on really, really good form now, Blackburn. And I like the goal scorers. Obviously, Armstrong is top scorer in the division. Then you have Dolan, Elliott, Brereton, Gallagher. There are goals in that team, and goals win games. Will certainly help you win games, don't they? They're not the be-all, end-all. But have a look out for Blackburn now. I've said for a while that I was sceptical. Who have they beaten, etc. But now they're winning, and there's a lot of goals in that team. And Tony Mowbray is an experienced manager who has been promoted from this division before with West Brom. So just keep an eye, because the maximum upside for Blackburn is they're a dark horse. Yes, we have the Parachute Cartel and Norwich, Watford and Birmingham. Bournemouth. Who the hell are Birmingham? Idiot. No one clip that, please. But yeah, just keep a lookout for Blackburn. Millwall, down into the bottom half. Obviously, they were unlucky in this game, but they are not scoring enough goals there. Only 13 in 15 games. Rowett searching for the answer, but only 3 defeats, but only 4 victories as well. Right, let's have a look at your comments here. Millwall, very unlucky here. Armstrong punishes again. Ayala's last handball was ridiculous and missed by the ref. 3 Stonewall handballs in the box, and ref and linesman missed them all. I agree, Armstrong punished you. I agree, very unlucky. I agree probably about Ayala's handball. I'll push back a little bit on Gaza on 3 Stonewall handballs. I think maybe 1 very decent shout and 2 have been given. Let's just say not 3 Stonewalls, but look, let's not beat around the bush. Millwall were unlucky in this game, weren't they? Armstrong's so dangerous. Him versus Tony. Oh, is it really, Hal? Look forward to that one. Blackburn are basically scoring 2 goals a game on average, and under normal circumstances, that wins you the league. Very odd they're only 9th with that attack. Great point, Josh. Great insight from you today. Just remember, though, I think what colours that statistic is they scored 5 against Wycombe, who had 10 for some of the game. They scored 4 against Coventry, who had 10 for some of the game. And they for a lot of the game, actually. And they scored 3 against Preston. So 9 of those, 12 of those goals, were against teams that had men sent off. Don't write off Rovers. No, we can't with that goal threat. Romeo was a great outlet for us. We've done Luton, Norwich, spool back. Lewis says, afternoon, Mr. Bloom. Should be an interesting game on Saturday. Millwall not doing too well. We also seem to be playing better. No, Cooper, Zahor. Did Cooper not play? Is Cooper's run over now? Wow. Bennett, also Scott Malone is ineligible. Interesting. James says, none of us Norwich fans understand why Tribal has been left out so much over the past year. I hope he's been treated well at Blackburn. Quality player. Yeah, I remember one of the East Anglian derbies. Tribal was probably the man of the match, actually. I think it's the one where Madison scored the goal. Personally, Millwall unlucky in this game, but Blackburn lately with referees has been so poor. We got luck finally, says Harry. Bart says, remember Mowbray's West Brom team. We spoke to Kevin Phillips about it recently on the channel. Good to see him doing so well. I'm sure Newcastle will be buzzing with the sell-on clauses for Armstrong. Yes, Mike Ashley loves a sell-on clause. Good. And guys, can I just say, without blowing smoke up your behinds, brilliant stuff here in the chat today. I haven't seen any of the nonsense that we often see. We was robbed, the refs corrupt. Lots of sensible stuff, referring to the laws, understanding that probably Sheffield Wednesday may have got a bit lucky and Blackburn may have got a bit lucky. Great stuff from you guys in the chat. That is what we want this channel to be, a really good place for decent, balanced, sensible analysis. Let's just do the overview. Before we do so, can I just throw up the plugs really quickly? You can support right now via Super Chat. Patreon, you can subscribe. Teespring shop, just type in live. That's your discount code. If you're in the stream right now, please hit subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, or like on follow on Twitter, like on Facebook. I never get them in the right order, do I? Right. Let's just do a quick roundup before we finish up. Sorry, a lot of info on that page. There are your results for the entire game week. Cardiff 3, Huddersfield 0. Birmingham 1, Barnsley 2. Bournemouth 2, Preston 3. Derby 1, Coventry 1. QPR 1, Bristol City 2. Rotherham 0, Brentford 2. Middlesbrough 2, Swansea 1. Blackburn 2, Millwall 1. Luton 3, Norwich 1. Forest 0, Watford 0, Wednesday 1, Reading 1. Sorry, loads of info on that page. There are your top scorers. Armstrong 14, Tony 13. Are we going to get the 30-goal striker this season? Hasn't happened since Glenn Murray. We could do. Armstrong and Tony and probably Zhao at the current rate are all on to do it. But it's hard to score 30 goals in the Championship. That's why nobody ever does it, do they? There is your table. Sorry, let me just remove my banner so we can see Norwich's recent form there. And it's just so tight at the top, isn't it? The Parachute Cartel still lead the way. They've gotten away with one this week, this game round, because 2 of them lost and the other one drew. But everyone has moved into their wing mirrors. Look, will they still be up there at the end of the season? Probably. But very, very competitive now, all the way down to Middlesbrough in 10th, 4 points off the top of the table. Look, that will ebb and flow, but I do genuinely still believe that those 3 year one parachute teams are going to be very hard to dislodge. And the competitive nature might even work in the favour of the parachute teams, because if you have a Blackburn and a Stoke and a Brentford and a Swansea and a Borough and a Reading and a Bristol City all performing well, then they're all going to take points off each other, aren't they? So my question is to you guys, can all those teams I've just mentioned, can they take points off the parachute cartel? Can a Reading, a Bristol City, a Swansea, etc., can they go and beat these teams consistently, Norwich, Bournemouth and Watford? That is the key now in the championship race. Can the playoff challengers beat the three parachute teams? Because if they can't, then that's all they're going to be, is playoff challengers. And those three will gradually move off and they'll duke it out between themselves for the top two. And one of them will probably be in the playoffs as well. So that is where we are now with the ebb and flow of this division. Crazy month for football, Ben. So much respect for you for keeping up. Popping on for the Saturday stream when I get the chance. Brilliant, James. League is crazy now. Starting to concertina up the top. Anyone in the top 8? Yeah, it's madness. Absolute madness, isn't it? Back in the ground. Nice one. Gaza, love it. Get some pictures in. Question to you. Has 3 relegated teams? I don't know. I'll do some research on that. Surely they can't have, can they? Could be the first time this season, the all-powerful parachute cartel. Right. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Please hit the subscribe button. Please like and try and draw other people into this stream. This will be available as a podcast as well in a bit once I've got everything done. Coming up on the channel, I'm going to move the predictions just so this has got a bit of time to breathe today to this slot tomorrow, because I've been really enjoying these 1 p.m. streams, and people can then catch up later in the day and I can hang with my missus in the evening a bit more. So I'm not entirely sure when we'll air Dearly Departed. I've got something in the works as well for tonight possibly, but I might not have it filmed. So basically at some point you're going to get Dearly Departed tomorrow, round 11 preview. That'll probably be a pre-record. You're going to get this show at 1 p.m. on the Championship. That will be a preview of round 16. You're going to get this other thing I've been working on, which I'm really pleased to give you. And you're going to get the Fantasy League video as well. I have got lots to do and I will crack on and do it. I thank each and every one of you, especially you super chatters, Patreoners and merchandisers purchasers. I have applied for my government grant today. So we've got another income stream for the next 6 months, but I couldn't do it without you guys. And also each and every one of you who has subscribed, because that is driving ad revenue as well. It's all working towards my goal of being able to do this full time, hopefully sometime soon. And I thank each and every one of you for giving me the opportunity to do this, because as you've probably realized, I love it. It's absolutely brilliant. Thank you, everybody. And a huge thank you to Russ, our fan sponsor for the Championship Review Show, each and every game week round here. 46 of them, even more when we're splitting the midweeks into 2. Thank you, Russ. He sponsors each and every one. One more time, there's your Teesprings code. Just type in the word live at the checkout there. Right, keep in touch. There'll be more preview stuff tomorrow. At the weekend, Saturday Super Stream at 3. I'm not going to do the initial game at lunchtime, but I will be, in Championship terms, doing Barnsley versus Bournemouth, which I'm looking forward to. That'll be good, actually. 5:30 tomorrow, early kickoff. Don't be caught out by that. And Dearly Departed, Chelsea Leeds at 8 and Sheffield United Leicester at 2:15 on Saturday and Sunday. Championship Review, 10 a.m. on Sunday. Is that enough plugs for you? Just hit subscribe, ring the bell, and your phone will flash up every time I'm on. And with all of that being said, it is over and out from me. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to see more videos from this channel. Hit the subscribe button and to be notified every time we upload. Ring the bell for those notifications to come through on your device. If you really want to support the channel and me as a content creator, I will be eternally grateful if you head over to the merch store and grab something, or support over on Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Thank you for your time. Go and watch another video.